Liam Grayson stood alone on the balcony of his Wall Street penthouse, the city sprawling beneath him like a glittering chessboard. It was late, past midnight, and the October air bit at his skin through his thin dress shirt. He didn't care. The cold felt honest, somehow. Down below, New York hummed with life, taxis honking, lights flickering, a pulse that never stopped. Up here, though, it was silent. Too silent. He gripped the glass railing, his knuckles whitening, and let out a slow breath that fogged in the chilly night. 32 years old, worth billions, and what did he have to show for it? A view most people would kill for, sure, but it was just a damn view. Empty. Like the sprawling apartment behind him, all sleek lines and polished marble, untouched by anything real. No laughter echoing off the walls, no messy coffee cups left on the counter, no one to share the space. Just him, and the ghosts of what might have been. He tipped his head back, staring at the sky, but the city lights drowned out the stars. Funny, he thought, how even the heavens got swallowed up here. His mind drifted, unbidden, to 10 years ago. Claire Bennett. The memory hit like a punch to the gut, sharp and sudden. He'd been 22, a kid with big dreams and a bigger heart, down on one knee in a shitty little diner off Times Square. The ring wasn't much, a thin band with a speck of a diamond, but he'd saved 6 months for it. 6 months of late nights coding, skipping meals, believing she'd say yes. She didn't. Claire had laughed, a brittle, cutting sound, her blonde hair catching the diner's fluorescent glow. "Liam, honey," she'd said, leaning across the sticky table. "You're sweet, but I'm not marrying a guy who can't even afford a decent rock. You'll figure it out someday." Then she'd slid out of the booth, kissed his cheek like it was nothing, and walked out. 2 weeks later, he saw her on some rich guy's arm at a rooftop party, her laughter ringing out again, this time for someone else. Liam shook his head, forcing the memory down. That was the day he'd learned the truth about love. It wasn't about hearts or promises. It was a transaction, plain and simple. Money talked, and feelings. Feelings were just noise. He'd built his empire on that lesson, turned Grayson Enterprises into a financial juggernaut, made himself untouchable. But tonight, standing here, he felt the weight of it all pressing in. Untouchable didn't mean happy. His phone buzzed in his pocket, pulling him back. He fished it out, squinting at the screen. A text from Ethan, his best friend and CFO. "You still at that gala? People are asking where the big man went." Liam snorted, thumbs hovering over the keys. The gala. Right. He ditched it an hour ago, tired of the fake smiles and clinking champagne glasses. Tired of women in designer dresses batting their lashes, whispering about his net worth like it was foreplay. He typed back, "Needed air. Tell him I'm sick or something." Then he shoved the phone away, leaning his elbows on the railing. The gala had been the last straw. He'd overheard 2 socialites by the bar, their voices low and syrupy. "Liam Grayson's a catch," one said. "Divorced once, no kids, and that fortune? I'd lock him down in a heartbeat." The other giggled. "Yeah, but you'd have to get past his walls first. Guy's colder than a New York winter." They weren't wrong about the walls. He'd built them high, brick by brick, after Claire. But the rest? A catch? He didn't feel like one. He felt like a damn ATM with a pulse. Everyone wanted something. His money, his name, his power. Nobody wanted him. Not the real him anyway. The kid who'd grown up in a cramped Queens apartment, eating canned soup for dinner, dreaming of something bigger. That guy was long gone, buried under suits and stock portfolios. Or was he? The thought slipped in, quiet but stubborn, like a crack in the concrete. What if he could find out? What if he stripped it all away, the penthouse, the title, the billions, and saw who'd still stick around? His pulse quickened, a flicker of something reckless sparking to life. It was crazy, insane even. But maybe crazy was what he needed. He straightened, turning back to the glass doors. Inside, the penthouse gleamed, sterile and perfect. Too perfect. He crossed the room in long strides, grabbed a bottle of bourbon from the bar, and poured a generous splash into a tumbler. The amber liquid caught the light as he swirled it, his mind racing. He could do it. Go undercover, live like a regular guy. Work a grunt job at his own company, see if anyone gave a damn about Liam Grayson without the shine. Ethan's gonna lose his mind, he muttered, a wry smile tugging at his lips. He took a sip, the burn grounding him. Ethan would call it a midlife crisis, probably drag him to a shrink. But Ethan didn't get it. He hadn't stood in that diner, heart on the table, watching it get stomped on. Liam had. And he was done waiting for someone to prove him wrong about love. He'd forced the truth out himself. The next morning hit like a freight train. Liam woke to sunlight streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows, his head pounding from too much bourbon and too little sleep. He groaned, rolling out of bed, the sheets a tangled mess. Coffee. He needed coffee. Stumbling to the kitchen, he fired up the espresso machine, the hiss and gurgle filling the silence. As the smell of dark roast curled through the air, he leaned against the counter, replaying last night's epiphany. It still made sense, even in the harsh light of day. He'd start today. Call HR, get himself a fake ID, a low-level gig. Data entry maybe, something boring, invisible. He'd be Luke. Luke Carter, he decided, nodding to himself. No one would look twice at a guy like that. His phone rang, shrill and insistent. Ethan's name flashed on the screen. Liam sighed, swiping to answer. Yeah? Where the hell were you last night? Ethan's voice crackled through, half annoyed, half worried. People noticed, man. You can't just ghost a room full of investors. I wasn't feeling it, Liam said, rubbing his temple. Needed a break. A break? Ethan laughed, short and sharp. You don't get breaks, Liam. You're the face of this thing. What's going on with you? Liam hesitated, the words teetering on his tongue. He could tell Ethan now. Get it over with. But no. Not yet. He'd figure it out first. Make sure it worked. Just tired, he lied. Long week. Ethan didn't buy it. Bullshit. You sound weird. You drunk or something? Nah, just hungover, Liam said, forcing a chuckle. I'll be fine. Catch you later. He hung up before Ethan could push, setting the phone down with a clunk. The coffee was ready. He poured it into a mug, black and steaming, and took a long sip. It scalded his throat, but he welcomed the jolt. Today was the day. He'd call HR, set it up. Luke Carter, average Joe, reporting for duty. No more penthouse, no more galas. Just a guy trying to find something real. By noon, it was done. A quick call to his HR director, a vague story about testing the ranks, and they'd bought it. No questions asked. Money had its perks, even when you were hiding it. He'd start Monday, data entry, bottom floor of Grayson Enterprises. $40 an hour, no benefits. Perfect. He spent the weekend prepping. Rented a cheap studio in Brooklyn, cash up front, no paper trail. Packed a duffel with plain clothes, jeans and hoodies, stuff he hadn't worn in years. The penthouse stayed as is, a museum to his old life. Sunday night, he stood in the tiny apartment, the walls thin enough to hear the neighbors arguing, and grinned. It felt right. Raw, like he was shedding a skin he'd outgrown. Monday morning, he woke to the buzz of a cheap alarm clock, not the soft chime of his smart home system. He pulled on a wrinkled button-down, skipped the shave, and caught the subway to work. The train rattled, packed with commuters, their faces tired and blank. He blended in, just another guy in the crowd. At Grayson Enterprises, he clocked in as Luke Carter, got a cubicle in a sea of gray partitions, and started typing numbers into spreadsheets. Mind-numbing, soul-crushing work. He loved it. No one knew him. No one cared. For the first time in years, he felt free. But freedom came with a catch. By late afternoon, his stomach growled, loud enough to turn heads. He'd skipped lunch, too caught up in the charade. Coffee, he muttered, grabbing his jacket. Need coffee. He remembered a place he'd passed on the way in, a little spot in Brooklyn called Bean and Brew. Sounded good enough. He stepped out into the crisp fall air, the city alive around him, and headed for the cafe. It was a short walk, 10 minutes tops, but it felt like crossing a line. Wall Street faded behind him, replaced by Brooklyn's narrower streets, its bodegas and brownstones. He pushed open the door of Bean and Brew, a bell jingling overhead, and froze. There she was. A girl behind the counter, maybe mid-20s, with dark hair pulled into a messy bun and eyes that sparkled even under the dim lights. She looked up, caught his stare, and smiled. "Hey there," she said, her voice warm, easy. "Rough day already?" Liam blinked, his throat dry. Yeah," he managed. "Something like that." "Well, come on in," she said, wiping her hands on her apron. "I've got just the thing." And just like that, Liam Grayson, no, Luke Carter, felt the ground shift beneath him. Liam woke Tuesday morning to the groan of Brooklyn traffic outside his rented studio, the sound seeping through the thin walls. He rolled over, the cheap mattress creaking under him, and squinted at the clock. 6:30. Too early, but he didn't care. His head buzzed, not from the bourbon this time, but from her. That girl at the cafe. Her voice, her smile, the way she'd looked at him like he was just a guy. Not a billionaire, not a name. Just some schmuck needing a cup of joe. He sat up, rubbing his face, stubble rough against his palms. "Get a grip," he muttered, voice hoarse from sleep. It was one conversation, barely 5 minutes. She'd handed him a coffee, black and strong, and sent him on his way. That was it. So why couldn't he shake her? The answer hit him as he stumbled to the bathroom, splashing cold water on his face. It was the way she'd talked to him. No agenda, no angle. Just real. He stared at his reflection, water dripping from his chin, and saw Luke Carter staring back. Not Liam Grayson, not the polished CEO. Luke. Tired eyes, messy hair, a guy who could walk into a place like Bean and Brew and belong. He liked that guy. By 7 he was dressed, same wrinkled shirt from yesterday, jeans a little too loose. He grabbed his wallet, $10 cash, and headed out. The subway was a crush of bodies, the air thick with sweat and perfume. He stood, gripping the pole, letting the sway of the train jostle him. Work waited. Another day of spreadsheets and fluorescent lights. But his mind was already on that cafe. He'd go back after his shift. Just for coffee, he told himself. Nothing more. The day dragged. Grayson Enterprises buzzed around him, phones ringing, keyboards clacking, but Luke Carter stayed invisible. He typed numbers, sipped lukewarm water from a paper cup, and kept his head down. Around noon, Mark, the guy in the next cubicle, leaned over, chewing gum too loud. "You new here?" he asked, popping a bubble. "Yeah," Liam said, not looking up. "Started yesterday." "Huh, quiet type, huh?" Mark grinned, leaning closer. "Name's Mark. You?" "Luke," Liam said, forcing a nod. "Luke Carter." "Cool, cool. Well, welcome to the grind, Luke Carter." Mark slapped the partition and went back to his screen, already bored. Liam exhaled, tension easing. So far, so good. Nobody suspected a thing. But by 4, the monotony gnawed at him. His fingers ached, his back stiff from the cheap chair. He glanced at the clock, counting minutes. 4:30. Close enough. He logged out, grabbed his jacket, and slipped out before Mark could ask questions. The air outside hit him like a lifeline, cool and sharp, washing away the office stale. Bean and Brew was calling. He walked faster this time, hands in his pockets, the city blurring past. Brooklyn unfolded around him, kids kicking a ball on the sidewalk, an old guy smoking on a stoop. It felt alive, messy, a far cry from Wall Street's sterile shine. The cafe came into view, its faded sign swinging in the breeze, and his pulse kicked up. Stupid, he thought. It's just coffee. The bell jingled as he pushed the door open. The place was quiet, a couple of regulars hunched over laptops, the smell of roasted beans thick in the air. She was there, behind the counter, pouring cream into a pitcher. Sophie. He'd caught her name yesterday. scribbled on her apron in marker. She looked up, and that smile flashed again, bright and unguarded. "Well, hey," she said, setting the pitcher down. "Back already?" "Couldn't stay away," he said, the words slipping out before he could stop them. He winced inwardly. Smooth, Liam. Real smooth. But Sophie laughed, a soft, easy sound. "Good coffee's hard to resist. What's it gonna be today?" Same as yesterday," he said, stepping closer. "Black. Strong. You got it." She turned to the machine, her movements quick, practiced. He watched her, leaning on the counter, trying not to stare too hard. Her apron was stained, her sneakers scuffed, but there was something about her. Something warm, steady, like she belonged here, in this little haven, while he was just passing through. She slid the cup across, steam curling up. "Rough day again?" she asked, tilting her head. "Something like that," he said, wrapping his hands around the mug. The heat seeped into his palms, grounding him. "Works boring as hell." "Yeah?" She wiped the counter, glancing at him. "What do you do?" "Data entry," he said, sticking to the script. "Just numbers all day. Nothing exciting." "Sounds like torture," she said, grinning. "I'd lose my mind. I need something to keep my hands busy, you know." "Like this?" he asked, nodding at the cafe. "Exactly." She leaned forward, elbows on the counter. "I mean, it's not glamorous, but it's honest. Plus, I get to talk to people. Like you." He froze, caught off guard. "Me?" "Sure," she said, shrugging. "You've got a story, right? Everyone does." "Not much of one," he lied, sipping the coffee. It burned his tongue, but he didn't flinch. "Just a guy trying to get by." She studied him, her eyes narrowing playfully. "I don't buy it. You've got that look." "What look?" "Like you're carrying something heavy," she said, her voice softening. "But you don't want to talk about it. That's okay. I won't pry." He swallowed, the coffee suddenly bitter. She was too close, seeing too much. "Thanks," he muttered, forcing a smile. "Appreciate it." "Any time," she said, straightening up. "I'm Sophie, by the way. Figured you should know since you're a regular now." "Luke," he said, the name still foreign on his tongue. "Nice to meet you, Sophie." "Likewise, Luke." She winked, then turned to help another customer, leaving him with his thoughts. He sat there longer than he meant to, nursing the coffee, watching her move through the cafe. She chatted with an old lady about the weather, teased a kid about his homework, handled the rush with a grace he envied. She was good at this, at making people feel seen. He wondered what that'd be like, being seen for real. Not as Luke, not as Liam, but as him. The door jingled again, and a new face walked in. A woman, sharp cheekbones, blonde hair swept back, dressed in a coat that screamed money. Claire. Liam's stomach dropped, his grip tightening on the mug. She scanned the room, her gaze landing on him, and for a second, he thought she'd recognized him. But she didn't. She just smirked, like she owned the place, and strode to the counter. "Latte," Claire said, her voice clipped, tossing a 20 on the counter. "Skim milk, hurry up." Sophie nodded, unfazed. "Coming right up." Liam watched, heart pounding, as Claire tapped her foot, glancing around. She didn't know him. Not like this. Not as Luke. But seeing her here, in Sophie's space, felt wrong, like a storm cloud rolling in. He downed the last of his coffee, the bitterness lingering, and stood. "See you tomorrow?" Sophie called as he headed for the door. "Yeah," he said, glancing back. "Tomorrow." Claire's eyes flicked to him, narrowing slightly, but he was gone before she could place him. Outside, the air hit him hard, cold and bracing. He shoved his hands in his pockets, walking fast, his mind a tangle. Sophie didn't know it, but she'd just lit something in him, a spark he hadn't felt in years. And Claire? She was a ghost he'd have to face, sooner or later. For now, though, he'd keep coming back. To the coffee, to Sophie, to whatever this was starting to be. Liam woke Wednesday morning with a jolt, the cheap alarm clock buzzing like a pissed-off hornet. He slapped it silent, groaning as he sat up, the mattress sagging under him. His head felt fuzzy, a mix of too little sleep and too much Sophie. That was her name, stuck in his brain like a song he couldn't shake. Sophie Miller. 2 days at Bean and Brew, 2 cups of coffee, and she'd already carved out a space in his thoughts. It was ridiculous, and a little terrifying. He rubbed his eyes. The room still dark, except for a sliver of gray light sneaking through the blinds. Brooklyn was waking up outside, horns blaring, a garbage truck rumbling down the street. He swung his legs over the side of the bed, bare feet hitting the cold floor, and muttered, "Get it together, man." This wasn't part of the plan. He'd come here to test people, to see if anyone could care about Luke Carter without the billions, not to get hung up on some barista with a killer smile. But that smile, damn it. He stumbled to the sink, splashing water on his face, trying to wash her out of his system. Didn't work. Her voice kept replaying, soft and teasing. "You've got that look," she'd said yesterday, like she could see right through him. And Claire showing up? That was a gut punch he hadn't seen coming. 10 years since she'd walked out, and there she was, strutting into Sophie's cafe like she owned it. He'd bolted before she could figure him out, but the close call left him rattled. He pulled on yesterday's jeans, the denim stiff from wear, and a faded hoodie. No point dressing up for data entry. The subway ride was the same grind, packed with tired faces, the air heavy with coffee breath and damp coats. He stood, swaying with the train, his mind split between Sophie's warmth and Claire's cold smirk. By the time he got to Grayson Enterprises, he was a mess, nerves jangling like loose change. The cubicle swallowed him up, gray walls closing in as he punched numbers into the spreadsheet. Same old, same old. Mark was there, popping gum again, but he didn't bother Liam today. Good. He needed the quiet, the monotony, something to steady him. But it didn't. Every clack of the keyboard felt like a countdown to 4:30, when he could ditch this place and head back to Bean and Brew. Back to her. Around noon, his phone buzzed, vibrating against the desk. Ethan's name lit up the screen. Liam hesitated, thumb hovering, then swiped to answer. "Hey," he said, keeping his voice low. "Hey yourself," Ethan shot back, sharp and edgy. "You gonna tell me what's up, or do I have to guess? You've been off since the gala." "I'm fine," Liam said, too quick. He leaned back in the creaky chair, glancing around. No one was listening, but he still felt exposed. "Just taking it easy." "Taking it easy?" Ethan snorted, the sound crackling through the line. "You don't do easy, Liam. You're dodging me, and I don't like it. Where are you right now?" "At work," Liam said, which wasn't a lie, just not the whole truth. "Yeah? Sounds quiet for the top floor." Ethan paused, suspicious. "You sure you're okay? You didn't sound hungover yesterday. You sounded weird." Liam pinched the bridge of his nose, squeezing his eyes shut. Ethan knew him too well, always had. They'd been friends since college, back when Liam was just a broke kid with a laptop and a dream. Ethan had stuck around through the Claire mess, the rise of Grayson Enterprises, all of it. But this was too big to spill over a phone call. "I'm good," he said, forcing a laugh. "Promise, just laying low." "Bullshit," Ethan said, but there was a grin in his voice. "Fine, keep your secrets, but if you're losing it, I'm dragging you to a bar later. Deal?" "Deal," Liam said, though he had no intention of going. He hung up, shoving the phone in his pocket, and stared at the screen. Numbers blurred together, meaningless. Ethan was right to push, but Liam wasn't ready. Not yet. He needed more time as Luke, more time to figure out what Sophie meant, if she meant anything at all. The clock hit 4:30, and he was out the door, jacket slung over his shoulder. The walk to Bean and Brew felt shorter today, the crisp air snapping him awake. He pushed through the door, the bell jingling, and there she was. Sophie, wiping down the counter, her hair slipping loose from that messy bun. She looked up, and her face lit up. Well, well, she said, tossing the rag aside. 3 days in a row. I should start a loyalty card for you. Maybe you should, he said, grinning despite himself. He slid onto a stool at the counter, the wood worn smooth from years of use. What's the prize after 10 visits? Free coffee, she said, leaning in. Or a hug, your pick. He laughed, caught off guard. Tough choice. I'll think it over. You do that, she said, turning to pour his coffee. Black, strong, just like he liked it. She slid it over, her fingers brushing the mug, and he felt a jolt, small but real. So, she said, resting her chin on her hand, how's the number-crunching life treating you today? Same as yesterday, he said, sipping the coffee. It burned, but he didn't care. Boring as hell. You? Busy, she said, nodding at the half-empty cafe. Had a rush earlier. Some lady ordered a latte like she was doing me a favor. Skim milk, extra bitchy. Liam froze, the mug halfway to his lips. Claire. Had to be. Yeah, he said, keeping his tone casual. Sounds like a real peach. Oh, she was, Sophie said, rolling her eyes. Threw a 20 at me like I'm her servant. I mean, I get it, some people have money to burn, but come on, manners don't cost a dime. He nodded, forcing a smile, but his gut twisted. Claire had been here inches from him, and now Sophie was caught in her orbit. He didn't like it, not one bit. You handled her, though, he said, meeting her eyes. You're tough. Gotta be, she said, shrugging. This job's not for the faint of heart. Coffee's hot, customers are cold. Balance of nature. He chuckled, relaxing a little. You're good at it, though. Making people feel, I don't know, welcome. Her smile softened, and she tilted her head. Thanks, Luke. That's sweet. You're not so bad yourself, you know. Yeah? He raised an eyebrow, leaning closer. What's my superpower? Listening, she said, no hesitation. You don't just nod and tune out. You actually hear me. That's rare. He swallowed, her words hitting harder than they should have. Guess I've got good ears, he said, deflecting with a grin. But inside, he was spinning. She saw him. Not the mask, not the money, just him. Or Luke, at least. It was more than he'd bargained for. They talked longer this time, the cafe emptying out as the sun dipped low. She told him about her day, the old guy who always tipped in quarters, the kid who spilled juice all over the floor. He told her about work, spinning half-truths about spreadsheets and coffee breaks. It was easy, too easy, sitting here with her, the world fading away. But then the door swung open, and everything shifted. Ethan walked in, his suit sharp against the cafe's worn edges, his eyes scanning the room. Liam's heart stopped, his hand tightening on the mug. Ethan didn't come to Brooklyn. Ever. What the hell was he doing here? Liam? Ethan called, spotting him, his voice cutting through the quiet. Shit. Liam stood, fast, spilling coffee on the counter. Hey man, he said, too loud, too forced. What's up? Ethan frowned, stepping closer. What's up with you? I called your office. They said you left. Figured I'd track you down, but... Here? He glanced around, confused, then at Sophie. Who's this? Sophie, she said, wiping up the spill, her tone cool but curious. I work here. You a friend of Luke's? Luke? Ethan's brow furrowed, and Liam saw the gears turning. Too fast, too dangerous. Yeah, Luke, Liam said, jumping in, his voice tight. This is Ethan, old buddy from back in the day. He's just passing through. Passing through, Ethan echoed, staring at him. Right, sure. He paused, then smirked. Well, Luke, you gonna introduce me proper or what? Later, Liam said, grabbing Ethan's arm, steering him toward the door. We'll catch up outside. See you tomorrow, Sophie. Okay, she said, blinking, clearly thrown. Take care, Luke. He dragged Ethan out, the bell jangling behind them, and didn't stop till they hit the sidewalk. Ethan yanked his arm free, spinning to face him. What the fuck, Liam? He hissed, low and fierce. Luke, What's this bullshit? You're in a coffee shop in Brooklyn playing… What? Some kind of game? It's not a game, Liam snapped, his breath fogging in the cold. It's complicated. I'll explain, just not here. You'd better, Ethan said, eyes narrowing. Because this looks like you're losing it, and I'm not covering for you if it blows up. It won't, Liam said, but his voice shook. He wasn't sure anymore. Ethan shook his head, muttering something about crazy rich guys, and stalked off toward the subway. Liam watched him go, his chest tight, then turned back to the cafe. Through the window, Sophie was cleaning up, her face calm, oblivious to the storm she'd just walked into. But across the street, another pair of eyes watched too. Claire, leaning against a lamppost, her blonde hair catching the streetlight. She'd seen it all, Ethan's slip, Liam's panic, and now she knew something was up. Her lips curled, a predator's smile, as she slipped into the shadows. Liam woke Thursday with a knot in his stomach, the kind that wouldn't budge no matter how much coffee he chugged. He lay there, staring at the cracked ceiling of his Brooklyn studio, the alarm clock silent for once. He hadn't set it. Didn't need to. Sleep had barely come, just a few restless hours haunted by Ethan's glare and Claire's smirk. He'd fucked up yesterday, big time, and now the whole thing felt like a house of cards, one gust away from collapse. He rolled out of bed, the floor cold under his feet, and shuffled to the sink. The mirror showed a guy he barely recognized, bags under his eyes, jaw rough with stubble. "You're an idiot," he muttered, splashing water on his face. Ethan knew something was off, and Claire… God, Claire was a wild card. She'd seen him with Ethan, seen the slip. If she put it together, if she started digging, this whole Luke Carter thing was toast. But Sophie, that was the kicker. He couldn't stop thinking about her, the way she'd smiled through his clumsy exit, the way she'd called him out for listening. She didn't know Liam Grayson, didn't know the mess he was dragging her into, and he wanted to keep it that way, wanted to keep her separate from the chaos. Maybe that's why he pulled on his jeans, grabbed his jacket, and headed out early. Work could wait. He needed air, needed her, even if he wouldn't admit it out loud. The subway was a blur, his mind too tangled to notice the crush of bodies or the guy blasting music through tinny earbuds. He got off at Brooklyn, skipping Grayson Enterprises entirely, and walked straight to Bean and Brew. The streets were quieter this morning, the air crisp with a hint of falling leaves. He pushed the door open, the bell jingling, and there she was, stacking mugs behind the counter. Sophie looked up, surprised, then grinned. "Well, damn," she said, brushing her hands on her apron. "You're early. Don't tell me work's already driving you nuts." "Something like that," he said, sliding onto his usual stool. His voice sounded rough, even to him, but he forced a smile. "Thought I'd switch it up. Coffee before the grind instead of after." "Smart move," she said, pouring his black coffee without asking. She slid it over, leaning on the counter. "You look like you need it. Rough night?" "Yeah," he admitted, wrapping his hands around the mug. The heat stung, but it steadied him. "Couldn't sleep. Too much noise in my head." "I get that," she said, her eyes softening. "Happens to me sometimes. You want to talk about it?" He hesitated, the truth clawing at his throat. He could tell her, right here, spill it all. "I'm not Luke. I'm Liam Grayson, a billionaire playing pretend because I don't trust anyone." But then what? She'd look at him different, maybe walk away. He couldn't risk that, not yet. "Nah," he said, sipping the coffee. "Just life stuff. You know how it goes." "Boy, do I," she said, laughing a little. "Life's got a way of kicking you when you're down. But hey, you're here now. That's a start." "Yeah," he said, meeting her gaze. "It is." They fell into their rhythm, talking about nothing and everything. She told him about a customer who'd tried to pay with a jar of pennies. He spun a story about a coworker who chewed gum like it was a full-time job. It was light, easy, a lifeline in the mess of his head, but he wanted more, wanted to push this thing, whatever it was, a little further. "Hey," he said, when the cafe hit a lull. You ever get out of here? Like, outside these four walls? Sometimes, she said, wiping down the espresso machine. Why? You asking me on a date, Luke? He choked on his coffee, coughing hard. What? No. I mean, not that I wouldn't. Shit. He rubbed the back of his neck, face burning. I just meant maybe we could hang out, grab some air. There's a park nearby, right? Sophie laughed, loud and bright. Relax. I'm messing with you. Yeah, Prospect Park's like 10 minutes away. I could use a break. You free this afternoon? Yeah, he said, too fast. I can swing it. Cool, she said, grinning. Meet me out front at 3. I'll bring the coffee. Deal, he said, his chest loosening. A walk. Just a walk. Nothing crazy. But it felt like a win, a small one, and he'd take it. The hours crawled by after that. He killed time wandering Brooklyn, grabbing a hot dog from a cart, watching kids chase pigeons. At 3 sharp, he was back at Bean and Brew, leaning against the wall as Sophie stepped out, 2 to-go cups in her hands. She ditched the apron, her hair loose now, catching the sunlight. Ready? She asked, handing him a cup. Ready, he said, falling into step beside her. They walked to Prospect Park, the streets giving way to trees and open grass. The air smelled like earth and autumn, a relief after the city's concrete grip. They found a bench near the lake, sitting close enough that their shoulders almost touched. So, she said, sipping her coffee, what's the real story, Luke? You don't strike me as a data entry guy. He tensed, the question too close to the bone. What do I strike you as? He asked, deflecting. I don't know, she said, studying him. Someone restless, like you're looking for something, but you're not sure what. He stared at her, his breath catching. She was good. Too good. Maybe I am, he said, voice low. What about you? What's your thing? Easy, she said, leaning back. I want to open a bakery. Nothing fancy, just a little place with good bread, maybe some cookies. Been saving up forever, but life, you know? Yeah, he said, nodding. I know. He wanted to ask more, wanted to know every damn thing about her. But he held back. Slow, he told himself. Take it slow. They talked for an hour, the sun dipping lower, painting the lake gold. She told him about growing up in upstate New York, losing her folks young, moving to the city with a suitcase and a dream. He told her about Luke's life, a mix of truth and lies, keeping it vague. It was good, better than good, until he did something stupid. She shivered, the breeze picking up, and he shrugged off his jacket, draping it over her shoulders. His fingers brushed her arm, and she looked at him, surprised, then smiled. Thanks, she said, pulling it tighter. You're sweet, Luke. Don't tell anyone, he said, grinning. Ruins my tough guy rep. Too late, she said, nudging him. Their eyes locked, and for a second he thought about kissing her. Right there, on that bench, with the park quiet around them. But he didn't. Couldn't. Not yet. They walked back as dusk settled, her still wearing his jacket, him fighting the urge to take her hand. At Bean and Brew, she handed it back, her fingers lingering on his. This was nice, she said soft. We should do it again. Yeah, he said, throat tight. We should. She went inside, and he stood there, watching her through the window, his heart pounding. Too caught up to notice the figure across the street. Claire, her coat flapping in the wind, a camera in her hand. She'd followed them, snapped pictures. Every moment of that walk caught on film. Her PI had tipped her off. And now she had proof. Liam wasn't just slumming it. He was hiding something big. Liam woke Friday morning to the sound of rain tapping against his Brooklyn studio window, a steady, restless rhythm that matched the churn in his gut. He lay still for a moment, eyes tracing the water streaks on the glass, his mind replaying yesterday's walk with Sophie. That park, that bench, her smile, it'd been damn near perfect. Too perfect, maybe. Because perfection had a way of slipping through his fingers, and Claire's shadow across the street last night was proof it was already starting to crack. He sat up, the cheap mattress creaking, and ran a hand through his hair. Wet strands stuck to his fingers, a reminder he'd forgotten to shower after coming in late, soaked from the drizzle. Shit, he muttered, swinging his legs over the side. His jacket still hung over a chair, damp and wrinkled from Sophie wearing it. He could still smell her on it, faint, like coffee and something sweet. It hit him hard, a pang he couldn't shake. The clock read 7, too early for work, but he wasn't going back to Grayson Enterprises today. Not after Ethan's stunt at the cafe, not with Claire sniffing around. He needed to lay low, figure this out before it blew up in his face. He stumbled to the kitchenette, flipped on the coffee maker, and leaned against the counter as it gurgled to life. The smell filled the tiny space, grounding him, but his thoughts kept spinning. Sophie didn't deserve this mess, didn't deserve to be caught in whatever Claire was cooking up. But how the hell was he supposed to keep her out of it? His phone buzzed on the table, loud against the quiet. He grabbed it, expecting Ethan, but the screen showed a number he didn't know. A text. "You're not as slick as you think, Grayson. Meet me at the diner on 5th noon. We need to talk." No name, but he didn't need one. Claire. His stomach dropped, cold and heavy, like he'd swallowed a rock. She knew. Maybe not everything, but enough to corner him. Fuck, he breathed, tossing the phone down. He paced the small room, 3 steps one way, 3 back, his bare feet slapping the linoleum. She'd seen him with Ethan, probably clocked the Luke slip, and those pictures from the park. If she had them, she had leverage. He could ignore her, ghost her like he'd ghosted the gala, but Claire wasn't the type to let go. She'd dig, and she'd find him. The coffee maker beeped, pulling him back. He poured a mug, black and steaming, and took a sip, wincing as it burned his tongue. Noon. 3 hours to decide. He could meet her, hear her out, see what she wanted. Or he could run, ditch Brooklyn, ditch Luke Carter, go back to the penthouse and pretend this never happened. But that meant ditching Sophie too, and the thought twisted something deep inside him. He didn't run. By 11:30, he was on the subway, hoodie up, hands shoved in his pockets, the rain streaking the train windows. The diner on 5th was a greasy spoon, the kind of place he hadn't stepped into since his broke days. Neon sign flickering, vinyl booths cracked, the smell of fries and stale coffee thick in the air. Claire was already there, sitting in a corner booth, her blonde hair pulled tight, a latte in front of her like she was too good for the joint. "Liam," she said as he slid in across from her, her voice smooth, sharp. "Or should I call you Luke?" He clenched his jaw, saying nothing, just staring at her. She looked the same, 10 years later, all angles and polish, but her eyes were colder now, calculating. "What do you want, Claire?" he said finally, low and rough. She smirked, leaning back, crossing her arms. "Oh, come on. Don't play dumb. I saw you at that shitty little cafe, cozying up with the barista. Then your buddy Ethan calls you Liam, and you freak out. What's the game, huh? Slumming it for kicks?" "It's not a game," he said, his voice tight, hands curling into fists under the table. "It's none of your business." "Wrong," she said, tapping a manicured nail on the table. "It's my business when I've got pictures of you playing poor boy in the park. Cute, by the way, giving her your jacket. Real romantic." His blood ran cold, but he kept his face blank. "You're stalking me now? That's low, even for you." "Call it curiosity," she said, shrugging. "You disappeared after the gala. Next thing I know, you're in Brooklyn with some nobody. I had to see for myself. And now I'm thinking, this could be fun." "Fun?" He leaned forward, voice dropping. "What the hell do you want, Claire? Money? A favor? Spit it out." She laughed, a brittle sound that grated on him. "Relax, Liam. I don't need your money. I've got plenty. No, this is personal. You've been dodging me for years, acting like you're above me. Now I've got something on you, and I'm going to enjoy it." He stared at her, his pulse pounding in his ears. "You're going to blackmail me over a walk in the park? That's pathetic." "Not just a walk," she said, pulling out her phone. She swiped, held it up. A blurry shot of him and Sophie on the bench, her in his jacket, him looking at her like she was the only thing that mattered. This is a story. Millionaire Liam Grayson slumming it with a waitress. The tabloids would eat it up. You're bored too. What would they think, huh? Their golden boy losing his mind? He snatched the phone, deleting the picture before she could stop him. You're full of shit, he said, tossing it back. That's nothing. You've got no proof. She didn't flinch, just smiled wider. Oh, honey, that's not the only one. I've got backups, and I've already started whispering. Talked to a few friends at the club last night. Liam's got a secret, I said. Something juicy. They're buzzing already. His chest tightened, anger flaring hot and fast. You're a snake, he said, standing, towering over her. Stay the fuck away from me, Claire, and her. Her? Claire raised an eyebrow, smirking. Oh, the barista matters, does she? Interesting. Maybe I'll pay her a visit next. Don't, he snapped, his voice a growl. I mean it. Or what? She said, unfazed, sipping her latte. You'll sick your lawyers on me? Go ahead. I'd love to see you explain this mess. He turned and stormed out, the diner door slamming behind him, rain hitting his face like needles. She'd gotten under his skin, just like always, and now Sophie was in the crosshairs. He walked fast, hood up, the city a blur around him, his mind racing. Claire wouldn't stop, not till she'd twisted this into something ugly. And Ethan? Shit, Ethan was already suspicious. Back at the studio, he paced again, dripping wet, the coffee cold on the counter. His phone buzzed. Ethan this time, a call. He answered, too wired to dodge it. What? Where the hell are you? Ethan's voice was sharp, worried. You didn't show at work. Mark said you've been flaky all week. What's going on, Liam? I'm fine, he lied, running a hand over his face. Just taking a day. A day? Ethan laughed, short and bitter. You don't take days. You're in trouble, aren't you? Spill it, man, before I come find you. Liam hesitated, the weight of it all pressing down. Meet me tonight, he said finally. That bar on 7th. I'll tell you everything. Damn right you will, Ethan said. 7 sharp. Don't bail. He hung up, and Liam sank onto the bed, head in his hands. Claire was out there, whispering, scheming, and now Ethan was closing in. Sophie's face flashed in his mind, her laugh, her trust. He couldn't let this touch her. Couldn't let Claire ruin it. Liam stepped into the bar on 7th at 7 sharp, the rain still drumming outside, soaking his hoodie through. The place was a dive, all dim lights and sticky floors, the kind of joint where nobody asked questions. Perfect for this. Ethan was already there, perched at a high top near the back, nursing a beer, his suit jacket slung over the chair like he didn't care it'd get ruined. He looked up as Liam approached, his face a mix of relief and irritation. Jesus, you look like hell, Ethan said, kicking out the stool across from him. Sit. Talk. Now. Liam dropped onto the seat, shaking water from his hair, his hands restless on the table. Yeah, well, it's been a week, he said, voice rough, meeting Ethan's stare. The bar hummed around them, jukebox playing some old Springsteen tune, voices overlapping in a low buzz. He flagged the bartender, ordered a bourbon, neat, and waited till it came before opening his mouth. I'm not Liam right now, he said, low, the words heavy. I'm Luke Carter, data entry grunt at the company. Been doing it since Monday. Ethan blinked, then laughed, a short, disbelieving bark. What? You're shitting me, right? This is a joke. No joke, Liam said, sipping the bourbon, the burn steadying him. I'm serious. Rented a place in Brooklyn, got a fake ID, the works. I'm testing something. Testing what? Ethan leaned forward, elbows on the table, eyes narrowing. Your sanity? Because this sounds like a goddamn breakdown, Liam. Maybe it is, Liam said, shrugging, his jaw tight. I'm tired, man. Tired of everyone wanting a piece of me, the money, the name. I wanted to see if anyone would give a damn about me without it. Just me. Ethan stared at him, beer halfway to his lips, then set it down hard. You're telling me you've been playing poor all week, at your own company. Why the hell didn't you tell me? Didn't want you talking me out of it, Liam said, meeting his gaze. You'd have said it's crazy. Dragged me back to the penthouse. I needed to do this. Crazy doesn't cover it, Ethan said, shaking his head. This is next level nuts. And that girl at the cafe, she's part of this experiment? Liam's chest tightened, Sophie's name unspoken but loud between them. Her name's Sophie, he said, quiet. She's not part of anything. She just happened. I go there for coffee. We talk. That's it. That's it? Ethan raised an eyebrow, smirking. Bullshit. I saw your face when I walked in yesterday. You're into her, Liam. Or Luke. Whatever the hell you're calling yourself. So what if I am? Liam snapped, louder than he meant, drawing a glance from the guy at the next table. He lowered his voice, leaning in. She doesn't know who I am. She thinks I'm some regular guy, and she still talks to me, laughs with me. That's something. Ethan softened, just a flicker, then sighed. Okay, fine. She's special. I get it. But this whole thing, it's a house of cards, man. You can't keep it up forever. Someone's going to figure it out. Someone already has, Liam said, his voice dropping to a growl. He took another sip, the bourbon sharp on his tongue. Claire, she cornered me today, at some diner. She's got pictures, Ethan, me and Sophie in the park. She's spreading rumors. Says she'll go to the tabloids. Claire? Ethan's eyes widened, then narrowed fast. That Claire? Your ex-Claire? Shit, Liam, what'd she say? She's playing games, Liam said, fists clenching. Wants to mess with me, says it's personal. Threatened to drag Sophie into it too. I told her to back off, but she won't. She's got backups of the pics, probably more up her sleeve. Ethan cursed under his breath, running a hand through his hair. This is bad, real bad. If she talks, the board'll flip, investors too. You're already on thin ice after ditching the gala. They find out you're pulling this stunt, you're done. I know, Liam said, staring at the table, the wood scarred and stained. But I can't let her get to Sophie. She's clean, man. She doesn't deserve this. Then end it, Ethan said, blunt. Go back to being Liam Grayson. Shut Claire down with lawyers, whatever it takes. You're in over your head here. No, Liam said, sharp, his head snapping up. I'm not ending it. Not yet. I need this, Ethan. I need to know if it's real. Ethan leaned back, studying him, then sighed again, long and heavy. You're a stubborn bastard. You know that? Fine. I'll cover for you at work. Say you're sick or some shit. But you're on borrowed time, Liam. Claire's not bluffing, and she's not the only one who's going to notice. Thanks, Liam said, the word rough but real. I owe you. Yeah, you do, Ethan said, finishing his beer. Big time. Just watch your back, okay? And hers. They sat in silence after that, the bar's noise washing over them, Springsteen fading into some country ballad. Liam nursed his bourbon, the weight of Ethan's words sinking in. Claire was out there, her whispers already spreading, and now Ethan was in on it too. The cracks were showing, wider every day, and he didn't know how to hold them together. He left the bar around 9, stepping into the rain, the city lights blurred through the downpour. His phone buzzed again, another unknown number. A picture this time, grainy but clear enough. Him and Sophie at Bean and Brew, her laughing, him watching her like she hung the moon. No text, just the image, but he knew who'd sent it. Claire, flexing her claws. He deleted it, shoved the phone away, and walked faster, the rain soaking him to the bone. Back at the studio, he stood dripping in the dark, staring at nothing. Sophie's face lingered, her voice, her trust, and he felt it slipping like sand through his fingers. Claire was closing in, Ethan was right, and the first real crack had split open. Tomorrow, he'd go to Bean and Brew, see her again, try to hold on to whatever this was. But tonight, he was alone. The rain beating down, and the mess he'd made was louder than ever. Liam woke Saturday morning with a headache pounding behind his eyes, the kind that felt like a hangover, but wasn't. He hadn't touched bourbon since last night's bar meet with Ethan, just sat up too late, staring at that damn photo Claire sent. Him and Sophie at Bean and Brew, frozen in a moment he'd thought was safe. Now it was a weapon, and he couldn't stop seeing her face, laughing, trusting, oblivious to the shitstorm brewing around her. He groaned, rolling out of bed, the Brooklyn studio feeling smaller than ever. Rain still tapped the window, a gray curtain over the city, matching the weight in his chest. Today was the charity gala, Some big-shot event in Manhattan he'd promised to attend weeks ago. Back when he was still Liam Grayson, CEO, not Luke Carter, nobody. He'd thought about skipping it, holding up here till Claire backed off, but Ethan's voice from last night rang in his head. "You're on borrowed time, man." If he didn't show, the board would notice, the whispers would grow, and Claire would pounce. He stumbled to the sink, splashing cold water on his face, the shock cutting through the fog. "Get your shit together," he muttered, staring at his reflection. Stubble thick, eyes bloodshot, a guy on the edge. He had to go, play the part, keep the mask on a little longer. But Sophie? God, he needed to see her first. Needed something real before stepping into that fake-ass world of champagne and small talk. By noon, he was on the subway, hoodie swapped for a suit he'd grabbed from the penthouse stash he'd kept here. The train rattled toward Brooklyn, the gala looming later. But Bean and Brew was his lifeline right now. He pushed through the door, the bell jingling, and there she was, behind the counter, wiping down the espresso machine. Sophie looked up, her face lighting up like it always did, and for a second, the mess faded. "Hey, stranger," she said, tossing the rag aside, her voice warm, teasing. "Thought you might have ditched me after yesterday's quick exit?" "Nah," he said, sliding onto his stool, forcing a grin. "Couldn't stay away. You got that magic coffee?" "Flatterer," she said, pouring his black brew without asking. She slid it over, leaning on the counter, her eyes narrowing. "You okay, Luke? You look off." He sipped, the heat grounding him, but her words hit too close. "Rough night," he said, keeping it vague. "Didn't sleep much. You?" "Busy morning," she said, shrugging. "Big order came in. Some fancy event tonight. We're catering it, so I'm stuck here, late prepping. Fun times." His stomach dropped, cold and fast. "Event?" he said, voice tight, fingers tightening on the mug. "What event?" "Some charity thing in Manhattan," she said, waving a hand. "Rich folks throwing money around, I guess. Bean and Brew's doing the coffee bar. Boss is thrilled, says it's good exposure." "Shit," he breathed, too low for her to hear, his mind racing. The gala. Of course it'd be the damn gala. He forced a nod, swallowing hard. "Sounds exciting." "Yeah, if you like schmoozing with suits," she said, laughing. "I'll be the one in the back, pouring lattes for people who don't tip. Living the dream." He tried to laugh, but it came out choked. She'd be there, at his event, in his world, and she didn't even know it. Claire's whispers, Ethan's warnings, all of it crashed together, and now Sophie was walking blind into the middle. "You'll kill it," he said, his voice strained. "You always do." "Thanks, Luke," she said, smiling soft, oblivious to the panic clawing at him. "You sure you're okay?" "You're pale as hell." "Just tired," he lied, standing quick. "Gotta run. Got stuff to do. See you tomorrow." "Tomorrow," she said, frowning a little, but she let it go. "Take care, okay?" He nodded, bolting out, the bell ringing sharp behind him. The rain hit him hard outside, soaking the suit, but he barely felt it. Sophie at the gala, Claire with her pictures. Ethan on edge. It was a train wreck waiting to happen, and he was stuck on the tracks. By 6, he was in Manhattan, the gala venue, a gleaming tower of glass and steel, lights spilling onto the wet streets. He adjusted his tie, stepped out of the cab, and walked in, the doorman nodding him through. Inside, it was all chandeliers and tuxedos, women in gowns dripping with diamonds, men laughing too loud over scotch. The kind of scene he used to own, but now it felt like a cage. Ethan found him fast, weaving through the crowd, a whiskey in hand. "You made it," he said, clapping Liam's shoulder. "Thought you'd bail again." "Couldn't," Liam said, scanning the room, his voice low. "Too much riding on it." "Claire's already talking, isn't she?" "Yeah," Ethan said, grimacing. "Heard some chatter by the bar. Liam's got a secret. Nothing solid yet, but she's stirring the pot." "You see her?" "Not yet," Liam said, his gut twisting, "but she'll show. And Sophie's here, Ethan. She's catering with the cafe." Ethan's eyes widened, then he cursed. "You're kidding." "Shit, man, that's bad timing." "Tell me about it," Liam said, snagging a glass of champagne from a passing tray. He didn't drink, just held it, needing something to grip. The room buzzed, voices rising, and then he saw her. Sophie, across the floor, setting up a coffee station with another barista, her apron swapped for a black shirt, hair tied back. She looked out of place, small against the glitz, but steady, working like it was any other day. "She doesn't know," Ethan said, following his gaze. "Does she?" "No," Liam said, his throat tight, "and I need to keep it that way." "Good luck with that," Ethan muttered, sipping his whiskey. "This place is a shark tank, and you're bleeding." The night dragged, Liam moving through the crowd, shaking hands, smiling fake, his eyes darting to Sophie every chance he got. She didn't see him, too busy pouring drinks, chatting with her coworker. He almost made it through, almost kept the worlds apart, until the MC called his name. "Liam Grayson, our generous host, will say a few words." The voice boomed, and the room turned, clapping, pulling him to the stage. He froze, champagne sloshing in his hand, then forced his legs to move. Up the steps, under the lights, he faced the crowd, his voice steady as he thanked them, talked about the cause, some kid's hospital he barely remembered agreeing to fund. But then he saw her, Sophie, at the coffee station, looking up, her face shifting from confusion to shock. Her eyes locked on his, wide, searching, and he knew she'd heard it. Liam Grayson, not Luke. The mask was off, and she was staring right through it. He finished the speech, voice faltering at the end, and stepped down, the applause a dull roar in his ears. Claire was there suddenly, cutting through the crowd, her red dress sharp against the sea of black. She grabbed Sophie's arm as she passed, leaning in, her voice low but loud enough for Liam to catch. "He's just amusing himself, sweetie," she said, dripping venom. "You're nothing to him, a little distraction." Sophie yanked free, her face pale, eyes flashing. "What the hell?" she said, loud, drawing stares. She turned, saw Liam coming, and bolted, shoving through the crowd toward the back exit. "Sophie," he called, chasing her, but she was gone, out the door, into the rain. Claire smirked, sipping her drink, and Ethan grabbed his arm, pulling him back. "Let her go, man," Ethan said, urgent. "You can't fix this here." "She's wrong," Liam said, voice breaking, wrenching free. "Claire's wrong. I have to tell her." He ran, out into the wet night, the gala's lights fading behind him, but Sophie was nowhere, just rain and the echo of her shock, tearing him apart. Liam didn't sleep Saturday night, just sat on the edge of his studio bed, the rain a dull hum outside, his suit still damp and clinging to him. Sophie's eyes kept flashing in his head, that moment at the gala when she'd heard his name, when Claire's poison hit her. She'd run, and he'd let her. Stuck in that damn tuxedo crowd while his world fell apart. He'd fucked up, bad, and now the pieces were scattered everywhere. Sunday morning broke gray and heavy, the city sluggish under the wet. He dragged himself up, head pounding, and stared at the mirror. A wreck stared back, unshaven, hollow-eyed, a guy who'd lost control. "You idiot," he muttered, splashing water on his face, the cold no help against the guilt chewing him up. He had to find her, had to explain, but how? She didn't even know where Luke Carter lived. Didn't have his number. All she had was bean and brew, and he'd bet his last dollar she wouldn't be there today. His phone buzzed on the table, relentless. Ethan's name lit up, a call he couldn't dodge. He swiped it, voice rough. "Yeah?" "Where are you?" Ethan said, sharp, no bullshit. "You ran out last night like a bat out of hell. People noticed, Liam. Board's pissed." "I don't give a damn about the board," Liam said, pacing the small room, his socks leaving wet prints. "Sophie's gone, Ethan. She heard it all. Claire got to her. I need to fix this." Ethan sighed, long and tired. "I told you, man, this was gonna blow up. Claire's all over it now. She's telling everyone you're cracking up, playing some double life. Tabloids got wind, too. Saw a headline this morning, Grayson's mystery meltdown. You're trending, and not in a good way." "Fuck," Liam said, stopping, his hand raking through his hair. "She's fast. What's she saying about Sophie?" "Nothing specific yet," Ethan said. "Just hints. A little fling or some crap, but it's enough to stir shit. You gotta get ahead of this, Liam. Talk to her. Shut her down." "I tried," Liam said, his voice cracking. "Yesterday, at the diner. She's got pictures, backups, everything. She won't stop till she's torched me." "Then lawyer up," Ethan said, blunt. "Hit her with a cease and desist, scare her off. You've got the cash, use it." "No," Liam said, sharp. That'll just drag Sophie in deeper. I need to talk to her first. Explain before Claire twists it more. Good luck finding her, Ethan said, grim. She's probably freaked out, hiding. You really think she'll listen? She has to, Liam said, quieter, his chest tight. I owe her that. Ethan paused, then softened. Okay. I'll hold the fort here, stall the board. But you're on a clock, man. Fix it fast. Thanks, Liam said, hanging up, the phone heavy in his hand. He grabbed his jacket, still damp, and headed out. The rain lighter now, a drizzle that matched his mood. Bean and Brew was his only shot, even if she wasn't there. Maybe someone knew where she'd gone. The subway ride was a blur, his mind stuck on her face. That mix of shock and hurt. He got off in Brooklyn, walked the familiar streets, the bodegas and brownstones. A faint comfort. The cafe came into view, its sign, dull, under the gray sky, and he pushed in, the bell jingling too loud. A girl he didn't know stood behind the counter, short hair, nose ring, wiping mugs. Not Sophie. Hey, he said, stepping up, voice rough. Sophie around? She glanced at him, chewing gum, unimpressed. Nope. Called out today. You a regular or something? Yeah, he said, swallowing. Luke, she okay? I mean, she say anything? Nah, the girl said, shrugging. Just said she's sick. Probably hungover from that fancy gig last night. Why? You her boyfriend? No, he said, too quick, then softer. Just a friend. Thanks. He turned to go, the door halfway open when she called. Hey, Luke. She's tough, you know. Whatever's up, she'll bounce back. He nodded, stepping out, the drizzle cold on his face. Sick. Right. She wasn't sick. She was running, and he couldn't blame her. He wandered the block, hands in pockets, rain seeping into his shoes, trying to think. Her apartment, maybe? She'd mentioned it once, offhand, a walk up near the park. But he didn't know the address, didn't have a clue where. Liam woke Monday morning to the sound of his phone buzzing like a trapped fly against the table, the Brooklyn studio dim and stale around him. He'd barely slept, the weekend a blur of rain and regret since Sophie bolted from the gala. Her face, that flash of betrayal in her eyes, haunted him. And Sunday's dead-end trip to Bean and Brew had only twisted the knife deeper. She was gone, hiding, and he was stuck here, drowning in the mess he'd made. He groaned, rolling over, the mattress creaking under him, and grabbed the phone. Ethan's name glowed on the screen, a call he couldn't ignore anymore. He swiped it, voice rough as gravel. Yeah? You sound like shit, Ethan said, blunt as ever, the hum of his office in the background. You find her yet? No, Liam said, sitting up, rubbing his face. His stubble scratched his palm, a reminder he hadn't shaved since Friday. She's not at the cafe, called out sick. I don't know where she is, Ethan. Damn, Ethan said, pausing, then lower. Look, man, you've got bigger problems. Claire's not whispering anymore. She's shouting. Caught wind from a board guy this morning. She's been calling around saying you're unhinged, living some double life. Tabloids are eating it up, too. Liam's stomach sank, cold and heavy. What's she saying? He asked, standing, pacing the tiny room, his socks catching on the rough floor. Enough to stir shit, Ethan said. Grayson's lost it, slumming it with a waitress, dodging his duties. She's got no proof yet, just those pictures she's teasing, but it's hitting hard. Board's meeting tomorrow. Emergency session. They're pissed about the gala stunt, and this? They might push you out, Liam. Fuck, Liam breathed, stopping, his hand gripping the phone tight. She's fast. Too fast. What about Sophie? She mention her? Not by name, Ethan said. Just some nobody fling. But it's only a matter of time. You've got to do something, man. Shut her down. I tried, Liam said, his voice cracking, the memory of the diner flashing hot. She's got backups, Ethan. Pictures, leverage. She's playing for keeps. Then play harder, Ethan said, sharp. You're Liam Grayson, not some chump. Get a lawyer, hit her with a restraining order, anything. You can't let her torch you like this. Liam sank back onto the bed, head in his hand, the phone pressed to his ear. I can't drag Sophie into it, he said, quiet, desperate. Lawyers mean headlines. Headlines mean her name splashed everywhere. I need to talk to her first. Explain everything. Good luck with that, Ethan said, grim. She's a ghost right now. And Claire? She's not waiting. You're running out of moves. I know, Liam said, his chest tight, the weight crushing him. I'll figure it out. Just keep the board off me till tomorrow, okay? I'll try, Ethan said, sighing. But they're out for blood. Watch your back, man. The call ended, and Liam tossed the phone onto the bed, staring at the wall, the cracks in the paint mocking him. Claire was winning, her gambit in full swing, and he was scrambling. He needed Sophie, needed to fix this before it broke her too. But she was gone, and he was blind. By noon, he was out. Jacket slung over his shoulder, the rain finally stopped, leaving Brooklyn damp and gray. He didn't know where to go, just walked. The streets a maze of bodegas and brownstones, his mind churning. Bean and Brew was a bust, but maybe she'd show, eventually. He headed there anyway, a last-ditch hope, the bell jingling as he stepped in. The same girl from yesterday was behind the counter, nose ring glinting, chewing gum loud. She glanced up, unimpressed. You again? She said, wiping her hands. Sophie's still out. You stalking her, or what? No, Liam said, quick, his voice rough. Just worried. She say anything else? About where she's at? Nope, the girl said, popping her gum. Just sick. Chill, dude. She's fine. Probably just needs a break from all the rich assholes last night. He flinched, her words cutting deeper than she knew. Yeah, he said, forcing a nod. Thanks. He turned to leave, but the door swung open, and there she was. Claire, striding in like she owned the place, her coat sharp, her blonde hair perfect. His heart stopped, his hands curling into fists. What the hell are you doing here? He said, low, stepping toward her. Relax, Liam, she said, her voice smooth, a smirk tugging her lips. Just grabbing a coffee. Cute place. Your little girlfriend's not around, though. Shame. Leave her out of this, he said, his voice a growl, closing the gap. I told you, Claire. Back off. Oh, I heard you, she said, stepping closer, her heels clicking on the floor. But I'm not done. See? I've been thinking, this whole Luke thing? It's gold. I've got a deal for you. Drop the barista, come clean to me, and I'll keep it quiet. We could even rekindle things. Better than some nobody, right? He stared at her, anger boiling hot and fast. You're delusional, he said, his voice shaking. I'd rather burn it all down than go back to you. You've got nothing, Claire. Nothing real. Her smirk faltered, just a flicker, then hardened. Oh, I've got plenty, she said, pulling out her phone. Pictures, rumors, enough to sink you. Last chance, Liam. Take the deal, or I go big. Tabloids, board, everyone. Fuck your deal, he said, loud, the girl at the counter glancing over. You want to play? Go ahead. I'm done running. Claire's eyes narrowed, cold and sharp. Your funeral, she said, turning on her heel, the door slamming behind her. Liam stood there, breathing hard, the cafe silent except for the hum of the espresso machine. The girl behind the counter stared, gum still, then spoke. She's a piece of work, she said, shaking her head. You okay, man? No, Liam said, honest, his voice raw. But I will be. He left, the air outside biting, his mind racing. Claire's gambit was clear now, a power play to break him, drag him back to her world. But Sophie, he couldn't let her get caught in the blast. He needed to find her, needed her to hear him out before Claire's next move landed. He'd crashed hard last night, fully clothed, after pacing half the night, Claire's ultimatum looping in his head. She'd laid her cards out, a deal to save his skin at Sophie's expense, and he'd thrown it back in her face. Now the clock was ticking, the board meeting looming, and Sophie's still a ghost. He was out of time, out of moves, but he wasn't out of fight. He sat up, the mattress groaning, and rubbed his eyes, the stubble on his jaw rough against his hands. Come on, man, he muttered, forcing himself up, the floor cold under his socks. He couldn't sit here, couldn't wait for Claire to drop her bomb. He had to find Sophie, had to explain, even if she hated him for it. And then he'd deal with Claire, one way or another. The phone buzzed, Ethan again, relentless. Liam answered, voice hoarse. Yeah? Board's meeting in 2 hours, Ethan said, tense, the clatter of his office loud behind him. They're gunning for you, Liam. Claire's rumors hit hard, tabloids are all over it. Grayson's double life. They've got no proof yet, but it's enough to scare him. You coming in? No, Liam said, standing, grabbing his jacket. I've got something else first. Stall him, Ethan. Give me till noon. Stall him? Ethan laughed, short and bitter. They're sharks, man, and you're chum. What's more important than this? Sophie, Liam said, firm, the name heavy on his tongue. I need to find her. Tell her the truth. Claire's escalating, threatened me yesterday. I'm not letting her win. Ethan cursed, low and fierce. You're crazy. You know that? Fine, I'll buy you time. But noon, Liam. Get your ass here, or you're toast. Deal, Liam said, hanging up, shoving the phone in his pocket. He didn't have a plan, just a gut feeling, and that was enough. Sophie's apartment, near the park. That's where he'd start. She'd mentioned it once, a walk-up with a busted buzzer, and he'd cling to that scrap till it led him somewhere. He hit the streets, the morning gray and crisp, Brooklyn waking slow around him. The subway was packed, bodies pressed tight, but he barely noticed, his mind locked on her. He got off near Prospect Park, the trees bare now, the air sharp with fall. He wandered the blocks, eyes scanning every building, looking for something, anything that felt right. A brownstone with a crooked stoop, a busted mailbox, that's what he pictured. And after an hour, he found it. Unit 3B, the label faded, no buzzer working, just like she'd said. He took the stairs 2 at a time, heart pounding, and knocked. The sound loud in the quiet hall. Nothing. He knocked again, harder, desperation creeping in. Sophie, he called, low, urgent. It's me. Luke. Please. Open the door. A shuffle. Faint, then the lock clicked. She opened it. Just a crack. Her face pale, eyes red like she'd been crying. What the hell are you doing here? She said, voice shaky, angry. How'd you even find me? I remembered, he said, breathless, hands up like he was surrendering. You said near the park. Busted buzzer. Sophie, I need to talk to you, please. Talk? She laughed, bitter, opening the door wider, her arms crossed tight. You mean lie some more? Liam Grayson? That's you, right? Not Luke, some rich asshole playing games with me. No, he said, stepping in, the small apartment cramped, cozy, hers. Not a game. I swear, Sophie, it wasn't like that. I'm a mess, okay? I didn't mean to hurt you. Then what was it? She snapped, her voice rising, tears brimming. You sat there every day, acting like some regular guy, and the whole time you're, what, a billionaire, laughing at me behind my back? No, he said, desperate, moving closer, never laughing. I went to that cafe looking for something real, something not about money or power, and I found you. You're real, Sophie. More than anything in my life. I didn't tell you because I was scared you'd walk away. She stared at him, her breath hitching, then turned, wiping her eyes. That woman at the gala, she said I'm nothing to you. A distraction. Is that true? Claire, Liam said, his voice a growl. She's my ex. She's poison. She's trying to ruin me, ruin this. She's wrong, Sophie. You're not nothing. You're everything. Everything. She spun back, eyes blazing. Then why lie? Why let me find out like that in front of all those people? You think I'm some charity case, Luke? Liam? Whatever the hell you are? I didn't want it like that, he said, his voice breaking, stepping closer. I fucked up, okay? I was going to tell you, I swear, but it got out of hand. Claire's got pictures. She's blackmailing me, and I didn't want you caught in it. I'm sorry, Sophie. I'm so damn sorry. She looked at him, long and hard, tears falling now, her hands clenched. I trusted you, she said, quiet, raw. Luke he was real to me, and now I don't know who you are. I'm still him, he said, pleading, his chest tight. The guy who listened, who laughed with you, that's me, Sophie. The money, the name, that's just noise. I don't care about it. I care about you. She shook her head, stepping back, the space between them growing. I need time, she said, her voice small. I can't do this right now. Just go, Liam. Please. He nodded, throat burning, his eyes stinging. Okay, he said, soft. I'll go. But I'm not giving up. I'll fix this, Sophie. For you. He left, the door clicking shut behind him, the sound final, brutal. Down the stairs, out into the cold, he walked fast, the park a blur beside him. She was hurt, broken, and it was his fault, but she'd opened the door. She'd listened, even a little. That was something, a crack of hope he'd cling to. By noon, he was at Grayson Enterprises, the boardroom buzzing as he walked in, Ethan at his side. The suit stared, whispers rippling, but he didn't care. He'd lost Sophie, maybe for good, but he wasn't losing everything. Claire's gambit had pushed him here, to this turning point, and he was done running. Gentlemen, he said, voice steady, facing them down. You've got questions. Let's talk. Liam woke Wednesday morning to the sound of his phone buzzing like a jackhammer, the Brooklyn studio dark and heavy around him. He'd crashed late, after the board meeting stretched into the night, a brutal showdown that left him raw. They'd grilled him, demanded answers about the tabloid buzz, Claire's rumors, his disappearing act. He'd told them enough, half-truths about needing a break, dodging the Luke Carter mess, and Ethan had backed him up, stalling the vote to oust him. But it was close, too damn close, and now the phone wouldn't shut up. He groaned, rolling over, the mattress sagging under him, and grabbed it. A dozen missed calls, Ethan's name topping the list, plus texts lighting up the screen. He swiped one open, his gut sinking as he read. Check the news. Claire's gone nuclear. Call me. He sat up fast, heart pounding, and fumbled for the remote, flipping on the tiny TV in the corner. The screen flared to life, a morning news channel, and there it was, plastered across the ticker. Grayson Enterprises CEO caught in waitress scandal. The anchor's voice cut through, polished and smug. Sources say Liam Grayson, head of the billion-dollar firm, has been living a secret life, posing as a low-level employee and romancing a Brooklyn barista. Insider Claire Bennett claims he's unstable, neglecting his duties for a fling. We've got exclusive photos. Liam's stomach turned, cold and sour, as the screen flashed a blurry shot. Him and Sophie at Bean and Brew, her laughing, him leaning close. Then another, the park, her in his jacket, his face soft in a way he barely recognized. Claire's voice came next, a clip from some interview, dripping venom. He's lost it, she said, cool and sharp. Playing dress-up with some nobody while his company crumbles. It's sad, really. Fuck, Liam breathed, tossing the remote, the TV droning on as he stood, pacing the small room. His socks caught on the rough floor, his hands clenched tight. She'd done it, gone big, just like she'd threatened. The tabloids had her pictures now, her story, and Sophie's face was out there, splashed across every screen in New York. He'd tried to shield her, begged her for time yesterday. And now this. The phone buzzed again, Ethan, and he answered, voice raw. I saw it, he said, cutting off Ethan's greeting. She's fucked me, man. Fucked us both. Yes, she has, Ethan said, tense, the office chaos loud behind him. It's everywhere, Liam. Boards freaking out, investors pulling calls, and the press is camped outside. Where are you? Brooklyn, Liam said, grabbing his jacket, the damp fabric cold against his skin. I'm coming in. We've got to stop this. Stop it, Ethan laughed, short and bitter. It's a train wreck, man. Claire's got proof, and she's milking it. You need to talk to Sophie, get her on board, or this gets uglier. She won't talk to me, Liam said, his voice cracking, shoving his feet into soggy sneakers. I tried yesterday, Ethan. She's hurt. She needs time. And now this shit? She's gonna hate me more. She might, Ethan said, blunt, but you've got no choice. Claire's painting her as some gold digger, and the press will eat her alive if she doesn't fight back. Find her, Liam. Now. He hung up, the phone heavy in his pocket, and bolted out, the morning gray and biting. The subway was a haze, his mind stuck on Sophie, her face on that screen, her life ripped open because of him. He got off near her place, the brownstone looming, and took the stairs 2 at a time, knocking hard. Sophie, he called, desperate, voice echoing in the hall. It's me. Please, open up. The door cracked, slower this time, and there she was, pale, eyes red, a newspaper clutched in her hand. You've got some nerve, she said, low, furious, shoving the paper at him. The headline screamed, "Waitress cons millionaire? This you? This why you're here?" "No," he said, stepping in, the apartment small, cluttered, hers. "Sophie, I didn't do this. Claire did. She's my ex. She's trying to ruin me. Ruin us. I'm sorry, I didn't want this." "Us?" She laughed, sharp, bitter, tossing the paper on the table. "There's no us, Liam. You lied, you used me, and now I'm some trashy headline because of you. Get out." "I didn't use you," he said, his voice breaking, hands up. "I swear, Sophie, you were never a game. I went to that cafe looking for something real, and I found you. Claire's twisting it. She's got pictures. She's blackmailing me. I tried to keep you out of it." "Too late," she said, tears spilling now, her arms crossed tight. "My phone's blowing up. My boss called. Everyone thinks I'm some scam artist. I trusted you, Luke, or whoever you are. And you let this happen?" "I know," he said, stepping closer, his chest aching. "I fucked up, okay? I should have told you, should have stopped her. But I'm here now. I'm not running. Let me fix this, Sophie. Please." She shook her head, turning away, her voice small. "I can't fix this. I can't even look at you. Just go." He stood there, frozen, the air thick between them, then nodded, throat burning. "I'll go," he said, soft. "But I'm not giving up. I'll make this right." He left, the door clicking shut, the sound a gut punch. Downstairs, he leaned against the wall, rain starting again, his breath fogging in the cold. She was breaking, and it was his fault. But he couldn't stop now. Claire had lit the fuse, and he had to put it out. Back at Grayson Enterprises, the lobby was a circus, reporters shouting, cameras flashing. He pushed through, hoodie up, Ethan meeting him at the elevators. "It's a shit show," Ethan said, grim, punching the button. "Board's ready to vote you out. Claire's feeding him lies." "What's the play?" "Find her," Liam said, his voice hard, stepping in. "Get me proof she's behind this, something solid. I'm not letting her win." Ethan nodded, pulling out his phone. "I've got a guy, PI, from last year's merger mess. He's good, discreet. If Claire's dirty, he'll dig it up." "Do it," Liam said, the elevator dinging, the doors sliding shut. "And Sophie, she's not answering, but she's got people. That cafe crew, they're tight. They might help." They hit the street again, splitting up, Liam heading back to Bean and Brew. The bell jingled, the same girl at the counter, nose ring glinting, her face hardening when she saw him. "You," she said, crossing her arms. "What'd you do to Sophie? She's a wreck, and now this shit's all over the news." "I know," Liam said, hands up, voice raw. "I'm trying to fix it. Name's Liam, not Luke. I messed up, but I need your help. She's in trouble, and I can't get to her." She stared, chewing gum slow, then softened, just a bit. "Rosa," she said, nodding. "She's my friend, asshole. That blonde bitch came in here yesterday, stirring crap. Sophie doesn't deserve this." "No, she doesn't," Liam said, stepping closer. "Rosa, please. Tell me how to help her. Claire's lying, smearing her. I need to stop it." Rosa sighed, loud, then grabbed a pen, scribbling on a napkin. "Her friend's place," she said, shoving it at him. "She's crashing there, hiding. Don't make me regret this, rich boy." "I won't," he said, taking it, his chest loosening. "Thank you, Rosa. You've got no idea." Yeah, she said, waving him off. "Go. Fix it." He ran, the address clutched tight, the rain picking up, a storm matching the one inside him. Claire's smear campaign was live, tearing through his life, Sophie's life. But he had a lead now, a chance. He wasn't letting her win, not like this. Liam woke Thursday morning to the sound of his phone buzzing again, the Brooklyn studio cold and quiet, the rain a faint patter outside. He'd barely slept, crashing after finding Sophie's friend's address last night, too wired to rest. Rosa's help was a lifeline, a crack of light in the shitstorm Claire had turned his life into, and today, he'd use it. He'd find Sophie, explain, beg if he had to, but he wasn't letting her slip away without a fight. He sat up, the mattress creaking, and grabbed his phone. Ethan's text glowed on the screen. "PI's got something. Meet me at the office, 9 sharp." Liam's pulse kicked up, a mix of hope and dread. If Ethan's guy had dirt on Claire, real proof it could turn this around. He pulled on jeans, a hoodie, the fabric stiff from days of wear, and headed out, the morning gray and damp, Brooklyn waking slow around him. The subway ride was tense, his mind split between Sophie and Claire, the address in his pocket burning a hole. He got off near Grayson Enterprises. The lobby still a mess of reporters, but quieter now, the feeding frenzy easing. Ethan met him at the elevators, coffee in hand, his face grim but sharp. "You look like death," he said, punching the button. "Ready for this?" "Yeah," Liam said, stepping in, his voice rough. "What'd your guy find?" "Gold," Ethan said, a smirk tugging his lips as the doors slid shut. "Claire's PI? Sloppy, left a trail, emails, payments, the works. She's been bribing a tabloid guy, Mark from your floor, to leak fake shit. Says Sophie's some con artist, total bullshit. We've got proof it's fabricated, timestamps, everything." Liam's chest loosened just a bit, relief cutting through the haze. "Mark?" he said, frowning. "That gum-chewing asshole? He's in on this?" "Yep," Ethan said, sipping his coffee. "Claire paid him off, $5,000 to plant the story. He's folding already. My guy leaned on him last night. We've got enough to nail her. Liam, fraud, defamation, you name it." "Good," Liam said, his voice hard, the elevator dinging. "I'm ending this today." "Where's she at?" "Her penthouse," Ethan said, stepping out, leading him to his office. "Got the address from the PI's files. You sure you want to do this solo?" "Yeah," Liam said, firm, following him in. "It's personal. She started it. I'm finishing it." Ethan nodded, handing him a folder, thick with printouts. "Here's the ammo. Emails, bank records, Mark's confession. Slam her with it, man. Then get to Sophie. Clock's ticking." Liam took it, the weight solid in his hands, a weapon he'd wield. "Thanks, Ethan," he said, quiet, real. "I owe you big." "Damn right," Ethan said, grinning. "Go. Kick her ass." He left, folder tucked under his arm, the city a blur as he cabbed to Claire's penthouse, a sleek tower in Manhattan, all glass and arrogance. The doorman buzzed him up, no questions, and he rode the elevator, heart pounding, the folder heavy against his side. She'd pushed him to the edge, trashed his life, Sophie's life, but now he had her. The door opened before he knocked. Claire standing there, red robe tied tight, a smirk on her face. "Liam," she said, smooth, leaning on the frame. "Knew you'd come crawling back? Ready to take my deal?" "No deal," he said, stepping in, his voice cold, hard. Her penthouse gleamed, all white marble and sharp edges, a world away from Brooklyn. "You're done, Claire. I've got proof." Her smirk faltered, just a flicker. Then she laughed, brittle and sharp. "Proof? Oh, please. You've got nothing, just some sob story for your little waitress." He slammed the folder on her glass table, papers spilling out, emails glaring up at her. "This," he said, pointing, his voice rising. "Your PI, your bribes, Mark's lies. You fabricated it all, Claire. Fraud, defamation, blackmail. I've got you cold." She stared, her face paling, then snatched an email, scanning it fast. "This is bullshit," she said, her voice shaking, tossing it down. "You can't prove I sent this." "I don't have to," he said, stepping closer, towering over her. "Mark's singing, Claire. He's got receipts, timestamps, your name all over it. You're finished. One call to the cops, the press, and you're the story. Socialite's dirty lies." How's that sound? Her eyes widened, panic flashing, then narrowed, cold and mean. "You wouldn't," she said, low, venomous. "You're too soft, Liam. Always were." "Try me," he said, his voice a growl, holding her gaze. "I was a fool once, Claire, letting you walk all over me. Not anymore. You've got two choices. Back off, delete everything, or I bury you." She laughed again, weaker now, stepping back. "You think this saves you?" she said, her voice trembling. "Your board's done with you. Your little fling hates you. You've got nothing left." "I've got enough," he said, turning, heading for the door. "Stay the fuck away from me, from her. It's over." He left, the door slamming, her silence louder than any comeback. Downstairs, the rain hit him hard, but he felt lighter, the folder still under his arm. A shield he'd used well. Claire was cornered, her claws clipped, but Sophie, that was the real battle. He cabbed to the address Rosa gave him, a walk up near the cafe. Smaller, quieter. He knocked, heart in his throat, and a woman answered, short, fierce, eyes narrowing. "Who are you?" she said, blocking the door. "Liam," he said, hands up, voice raw. "I need to see Sophie. Please, it's important." "She doesn't want to see you," the woman said, firm, but then Sophie's voice came, soft, tired. "It's okay, Jen. Let him in." Jen stepped aside, glaring, and Liam walked in, the apartment warm, cluttered, a refuge. Sophie sat on a couch, blanket around her, her face pale, eyes red. "What now?" she said, quiet, guarded. "More lies?" "No," he said, sitting across from her, the folder on his lap. "Truth. I faced Claire, got proof she lied, shut her down. She's done, Sophie. She can't hurt you anymore." She stared, her breath hitching, then shook her head. "Doesn't change what you did," she said, soft. "Hurt. You broke me, Liam. I don't know if I can trust you again." "I know," he said, leaning forward, his voice breaking. "I fucked up. Worse than I've ever fucked up. But I'm here, fighting for you. I don't care about the company, the money. I care about you. Give me a chance, Sophie. Please." She looked at him, tears falling, her hands twisting the blanket. "I need time," she said, barely a whisper. "But don't stop fighting. Not yet." He nodded, throat tight, hope flickering faint but real. "I won't," he said, standing, leaving the folder on the table. "I'll wait, Sophie. As long as it takes." He left, the rain soft now, the city quieter, his past faced, his future uncertain. Claire was down, but Sophie was the turning point, and he'd keep fighting no matter what came next. Liam woke Friday morning to silence. The Brooklyn studio still and cold, the rain finally gone. He'd slept better than he had in days. A restless but deep exhaustion after facing Claire yesterday, shutting her down with proof that left her scrambling. Her penthouse showdown had been a win, a hard-fought punch back, but Sophie's words lingered heavier. "Don't stop fighting," she'd said, soft, fragile, a crack of hope he couldn't let slip away. He sat up, the mattress creaking under him, and rubbed his face, the stubble thick now, a scruffy badge of the chaos he'd lived through. His phone lay quiet on the table. No buzz from Ethan, no tabloid alerts, just a rare moment of peace. But it wasn't enough. Claire was down, her lies exposed, but Sophie was still out there, hurting, and he had to make it right. Not with words this time, not with apologies she'd heard too much. With something real, something she could hold on to. He stood, pacing the small room, his socks catching on the worn floor, his mind churning. Her dream. That's what she'd told him in the park, back when he was just Luke. A bakery, nothing fancy, just a little place with good bread, maybe some cookies. She'd been saving forever, she'd said, her voice bright with it, and he'd listened, felt it, wanted it for her. Now, with Claire's storm fading, he could do more than listen. He could build it. "Shit," he muttered, stopping, a grin tugging his lips despite everything. It was crazy, reckless, but it felt right. He grabbed his phone, dialed Ethan, the call ringing loud in the quiet. "Yo," Ethan answered, groggy, the rustle of sheets behind him. "What now? You win the lottery or something?" "No," Liam said, his voice rough but alive. "I need cash, Ethan. Liquid, fast. Sell some shares, whatever you can move by tomorrow." Ethan laughed, short and sharp. "You serious? After all this, you're dumping stock? Board's still on edge, man. They'll flip." "Let 'em," Liam said, pacing again, the idea taking root. "I don't care. I need it for Sophie. She's got this dream, a bakery, and I'm making it happen. Today." A pause. Then Ethan sighed, long and tired. "You're nuts, you know that? But, okay. I'll call the broker. Move some stuff. How much we talking?" "Enough for a storefront," Liam said, quick, his pulse kicking up. "Brooklyn, near the cafe. Small, nothing big, just hers. Figure it out, Ethan. I trust you." "Jesus," Ethan said, chuckling now. "You're all in, huh? Fine, I'll get it done. But you're explaining this to her, not me." "Deal," Liam said, hanging up. the grin spreading. He didn't know real estate, didn't know baking, but he knew her, knew what she'd want. Simple, warm, real, like her. He pulled on his jacket, still damp from days of rain, and headed out, the morning crisp, Brooklyn buzzing slow around him. He hit the streets near Bean and Brew, eyes scanning for sale signs, anything that fit. A block over, he found it. A narrow storefront, brick front, windows foggy with dust, a faded for-lease sign taped crooked in the glass. It was small, rough, but solid, the kind of place she could make her own. He called the number, a gruff guy answering, and within an hour he'd locked it down, cash up front, no questions. Ethan's magic had come through, the funds wired fast, and by noon, it was his. Hers. He stood outside, hands in pockets, the key cold in his palm, his chest tight with something he couldn't name. Hope, maybe, or fear, or both. She'd told him to go, needed time, but this wasn't words, wasn't begging. This was her dream, tangible, real, and he'd give it to her, no strings, just like she deserved. By afternoon, he was back at Jen's place, the walk-up where Sophie was hiding, his heart pounding as he climbed the stairs. He knocked, softer this time, the door creaking open, Jen glaring out. "You again?" she said, arms crossed, voice hard. "She's not ready, man. Back off." "I know," Liam said, hands up, voice raw. "I'm not here to push. Just give her this." He held out the key, a small note taped to it, his handwriting shaky. "Miller's Sweets. Yours. No strings." Jen took it, frowning, then softened just a bit. "What's this?" she said, turning it over, reading the note. "Her bakery," Liam said, quiet, steady. "She told me once, it's what she wants. I got it for her. Tell her, I'm sorry, and I'm here when she's ready." Jen stared, her jaw dropping, then nodded, slow. "Okay," she said, softer now. "I'll give it to her, but don't hold your breath, rich boy. She's still pissed." "I know," he said, stepping back, his throat tight. "Thanks, Jen." He left, the door clicking shut, the street cold and quiet below. He didn't know if she'd take it, if she'd forgive him, but it was done. A piece of her dream in her hands. He walked back to the studio, the key gone, his chest lighter, and waited, the silence loud around him. Saturday came, then Sunday, no word, the phone still quiet. He stayed in, pacing, the TV off, the news fading as Claire's lies lost steam. Ethan called once, said the board was cooling, the PI's proof leaked to the press, turning the tide. "You're safe," he'd said, grinning through the line. "For now." But Liam didn't care about safe. He cared about her. Monday morning, the bell at Bean and Brew jingled as he stepped in, a habit he couldn't break. Rosa was there, wiping the counter, her face hard when she saw him. "You," she said, tossing the rag down. "Heard you got Sophie a damn bakery." "That true?" "Yeah," Liam said, sliding onto his stool, voice rough. "Did she say anything?" Rosa sighed, leaning on the counter, her eyes softer now. "She's got the key," she said, quiet. "Came by yesterday. Didn't talk much. She's thinking, man. Give her time. She's tough. But you broke her good." "I know," he said, nodding, his chest aching. "I'll wait, as long as it takes." "Good," Rosa said, pouring his coffee, black and strong, sliding it over. "She's worth it, rich boy. Don't fuck it up again." He took the mug, the heat grounding him, and sipped. The cafe quiet around him. The bakery was hers now, a dream he'd made real, and she was thinking. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start, a fragile thread he'd hold on to, fighting still, like she'd asked. Liam woke Tuesday morning to the sound of his phone buzzing sharp against the table. The Brooklyn studio dim, the air crisp with a new chill. He'd slept light, Sophie's silence heavy on him since Monday, Rosa's words echoing. She was thinking, holding that bakery key, and it kept him going, a thin lifeline in the wreckage. But today wasn't about her, not yet. Today was the board, the final showdown, and he had to face it, win or lose. He sat up, the mattress groaning, and grabbed the phone, Ethan's name flashing. He answered, voice rough. Yeah? Get your ass here, Ethan said, tense. The office hum loud behind him. Board's meeting in an hour. They're ready to vote. Claire's shit's dying down, but they're still rattled. You coming? Yeah, Liam said, standing, rubbing his neck, the stubble thick now. I'm done hiding. Let's end this. Good, Ethan said, a grin in his voice. Suit up, man. They're sharks, but we've got teeth too. He hung up, and Liam moved fast, pulling on the one suit left in the studio, wrinkled but sharp enough. He didn't shave, didn't care. The scruffy look, a badge of the fight he'd been through. The subway ride was quick, his mind locked on the boardroom, the faces he'd face, the power he might lose. He didn't care about the title, not anymore, but he'd be damned if Claire's lies took it without a fight. Grayson Enterprises loomed ahead, the lobby quieter now, the press thinning out. Ethan met him at the elevators, coffee in hand, his suit crisp against Liam's rumpled one. You look like a hobo, Ethan said, punching the button, smirking. Ready to lose it all? Not losing, Liam said, stepping in, his voice steady. Just shifting? They want me out? Fine, but it's my call. Ethan raised an eyebrow, sipping his coffee. You're serious? After all this? You're walking away? Maybe, Liam said, the doors sliding shut, the hum of the elevator loud. Depends. Let's see what they've got. The boardroom was a battlefield when they walked in, suits lined up around the long table, faces hard, eyes sharp. The chairman, a gray-haired guy named Harris, stood at the head, his voice cutting through the buzz. Grayson, he said, nodding, cold. Nice of you to show. Sit. We've got questions. Liam sat, Ethan beside him, the room quieting fast, tension thick as tar. Harris leaned forward, hands clasped, his gaze piercing. You've been a ghost, he said, slow, deliberate. Gala stunt, tabloid mess, rumors of some double life. Investors are spooked, stocks shaky. Explain yourself. Liam took a breath, meeting every eye, his voice calm, rough. I've been off, he said, simple, honest. Needed a break, stepped back, the rumors, lies, pushed by someone with a grudge. We've got proof. Shut it down. Stock'll bounce. It always does. Proof? A woman across the table said, sharp, her glasses glinting. That's not enough, Liam. You ditched us, left us blind. Claire Bennett says you're unstable, chasing some fling. Is it true? No, Liam said, firm, his hands flat on the table. Claire's my ex. She's bitter, fabricated it all. We've got emails, payments, her guy confessed. She's done, and I'm here. That's what matters. Harris frowned, tapping a pen, the room murmuring. Here now, he said, slow. But where were you? This Luke Carter nonsense. What's that about? You playing games while we bleed? Liam hesitated, the truth teetering, then leaned in, voice low. Real. I was, Luke, he said, steady. Went undercover, worked the floor, needed to see it raw. Not a game, a reset. I'm not bleeding you, I'm building you. Always have. The room erupted, voices overlapping, shock rippling fast. Undercover? A bald guy snapped, red-faced. You think this is a movie? We're a business, Grayson, not your playground. Maybe, Liam said, cutting through, his voice rising. But I saw more in a week down there than you've seen in years up here. I'm not unstable. I'm awake. You want me out? Vote. But I'm not begging. Harris raised a hand, silencing them, his eyes narrowing. You're reckless, he said, cold. But you got balls. Stock's holding, the press is shifting. We'll vote, Liam. Stay or go. They did. Papers rustling, whispers sharp. Ethan tense beside him. Liam sat still, his chest tight. Sophie's face flashing in his mind. The title didn't matter, not like her, but he'd fight for it, for the life he'd built, until they took it. Harris stood, clearing his throat, the room hushing fast. 6-4, he said, flat. You're out, Grayson. Effective immediately. Ethan's interim. We'll sort the rest. Liam nodded, slow, the weight lifting, not falling. Fine, he said, standing, voice steady. You've got my shares, my work. I'm done here. Ethan grabbed his arm, low, urgent. You sure, man? You can fight this. No, Liam said, pulling free, his grin faint but real. I'm good. You take it, Ethan. You've earned it. He walked out, the boardroom buzzing behind him, the hall quiet, his steps echoing. The penthouse, the title, the billions, they were gone, or close to it, and he didn't care. He'd sold enough to build her bakery, kept enough to live, and now he was free, lighter than he'd been in years. Outside, the air hit him, cold and clean, the city sprawling ahead. He cabbed to bean and brew, the bell jingling as he stepped in, Rosa at the counter, her face softening when she saw him. "Heard you lost the big chair," she said, pouring his coffee, sliding it over. "You okay?" "Yeah," Liam said, sitting, the mug warm in his hands. "Better than okay." "I'm out, Rosa. Free." "How's she doing?" Rosa leaned in, her voice low, warm. "She's at the bakery," she said, a grin tugging her lips. "Been there since dawn, poking around. Didn't say much, but she's there, man." "That's something." Liam's chest loosened, hope flaring bright, real. "Yeah," he said, sipping, his voice soft. "That's everything." He stayed, the cafe quiet around him, the coffee strong, the fight over, but the war not done. He'd lost the boardroom, the title, but Sophie was at her bakery, touching her dream, and that was worth every damn thing he'd let go. Liam woke Wednesday morning to the sound of his phone buzzing soft against the table, the Brooklyn studio quiet, the air crisp with a late fall bite. He'd slept deep, a rare peace after Tuesday's boardroom battle, the weight of Grayson Enterprises finally off his shoulders. He'd walked away, let it go, and it felt good, damn good, like shedding a skin he'd outgrown. But Sophie, her bakery, that flicker of hope Rosa had sparked yesterday, that's what kept him moving now. He sat up, the mattress creaking under him, and grabbed the phone, squinting at the screen. A text from Ethan. "Stock's steady, board's quiet. You're free, man. What's next?" Liam grinned, faint but real, and typed back, "Her. That's what's next." He tossed the phone down, running a hand through his hair, the stubble thick on his jaw, a scruffy testament to the fight he'd won, the life he'd chosen. The bakery, Miller's Sweets, that's where she was, Rosa had said. Dawn yesterday, poking around, touching her dream. He didn't know if she'd forgiven him, didn't know if she'd ever let him back in, but she was there. And that was enough to pull him out of bed. He pulled on jeans, a hoodie, the fabric worn soft now, and headed out, the morning gray and still, Brooklyn waking slow around him. The storefront was a block from bean and brew, brick front, windows still dusty, but alive now, a light glowing inside. He stopped across the street, hands in pockets, his breath fogging in the cold, watching. The door was propped open, a broom leaning against it, and then she stepped out, Sophie, her hair tied back, apron dusted with flour, sweeping the stoop like it was hers. Because it was. His chest tightened, a mix of hope and fear, and he crossed the street, slow, quiet, not wanting to spook her. She didn't see him at first, focused on the broom, her movements steady, deliberate. Then she looked up, her eyes catching his, and she froze. The broom still in her hands, her face shifting from surprise to something softer, harder to read. "Hey," he said, stopping a few feet away, his voice rough, low. "Didn't mean to sneak up, just wanted to see it." She stared, her breath visible in the chill, then set the broom against the wall, wiping her hands on her apron. "You did this," she said, quiet, not a question, her eyes searching his. "The bakery. It's real." "Yeah," he said, nodding, stepping closer, hands still in pockets. "Told you, no strings. It's yours, Sophie. Always was." She looked away, down at the stoop, her jaw tight, then back at him, tears glinting faint. "Why?" she said. Soft. Raw. "After everything? Why this?" "Because you deserve it," he said, simple, honest, his voice steady. "I messed up, hurt you, lied. I can't fix that with words. Can't take it back. But I can give you this. Something real. Your dream, not mine." She swallowed, her hands clenching the apron, then stepped inside, leaving the door open, a silent invite. He followed, the bakery small, bare, just a counter, and some shelves, flour bags stacked in the corner. It smelled like yeast.
like promise. And she stood there, arms crossed, looking at him like she was seeing him for the first time. "I didn't ask for this," she said, quiet, her voice shaking. "I didn't want your money, Liam. I wanted you. Luke, whoever you were, the guy who listened." "I'm still him," he said, stepping closer, his chest aching. "The money's gone, Sophie. Sold it all, walked away from the company. I'm not Liam Grayson anymore. Not like that. I'm just me. And I'm here, if you'll have me." Her eyes widened, shock flashing, then softened, tears spilling now. "You gave it up," she said, low, disbelieving. "All of it? For what?" "For you," he said, his voice breaking, close enough to touch her now. "For this. For something real. I don't need the penthouse, the title. I need you, Sophie. If you'll let me stay." She stared, her breath hitching, then laughed. A small, broken sound, wiping her eyes. "You're crazy," she said, soft, shaking her head. "You know that, right?" "Yeah," he said, grinning faint, his throat tight. "Crazy about you. Always was." She stepped closer, hesitant, then reached out, her hand brushing his, flour dusting his sleeve. "I'm still mad," she said, quiet, real. "But I don't want you to go. Not yet." He took her hand, gentle, warm, his chest loosening, hope flaring bright. "I'll stay," he said, soft, "long as you want me." She nodded, tears falling, and pulled him in, showing him the space, her voice shaky but alive. The counter she'd sanded, the shelves she'd planned, the bread she'd bake. He listened, laughed, clumsy when she handed him a rolling pin, flour flying as he tried to help. They worked side by side, the bakery small but theirs, the morning stretching into afternoon, quiet, real. By dusk, Rosa showed up, Gen 2, the cafe crew piling in, arms full of chairs, a coffee maker, a makeshift opening party. "You're stuck with us," Rosa said, grinning, slapping Liam's back. "She's family, rich boy." "Don't screw it up." "I won't," he said, meeting Sophie's eyes, her smile faint but there, the first real one since the gala. They ate, laughed. The bakery warm with voices, the stoop crowded, Brooklyn alive around them. She forgave him, not with words but with this, letting him in. And it was enough, more than enough. Night fell, the crew gone, just them now, cleaning up, the silence soft between them. "I fell for Luke," she said, quiet, wiping the counter, her voice steady. "But I'm staying for Liam, okay?" "Okay," he said, stepping close, his hand on hers, his voice breaking. "I'm staying for us." She smiled, real, warm, and leaned in, her forehead against his, the bakery theirs. A new beginning carved from the wreckage, stronger than anything he'd lost. Liam woke years later to the sound of the bakery door creaking open downstairs, the Brooklyn morning soft, the air thick with the smell of fresh bread. He was 50 now, gray creeping into his hair, his hands rough from years of kneading dough beside Sophie. The studio was long gone, traded for this. A small apartment above Miller's Suites, the life they'd built together, brick by brick, loaf by loaf. He rolled over, the bed creaking under him, and smiled, Sophie's side empty, her warmth still in the sheets. She was down there, always up first, the heart of the place she'd made legendary. He pulled on jeans, a flannel shirt, the fabric soft with age, and shuffled down the narrow stairs, the bakery alive around him, the hum of ovens, the chatter of early customers spilling in. She stood behind the counter, hair streaked with silver, apron dusted with flour, handing a bag of rolls to an old guy who'd been coming since day one. "Morning, Joe," she said, her voice warm, steady. The same smile she'd given Liam all those years ago at Bean and Brew. She looked up, caught his eye, and grinned, faint but real. "Sleepyhead," she said, teasing. "You gonna help, or just stand there?" "Help," he said, stepping in, his voice rough with sleep, grabbing a tray of cookies from the oven, the heat familiar, grounding. "Always do." "Yeah, right," she said, laughing soft, nudging him as she passed, her hand brushing his, flour dusting his sleeve. They worked, side by side, the rhythm easy now, years of mornings smoothing the edges. The bakery was small, still rough around the corners, but it was theirs. A Brooklyn staple, kids lining up for her cookies, old folks lingering over coffee, the stoop a gathering spot on warm days. He'd lost it all back then, the penthouse, the title, the billions. Sold off to build this, to win her back. The boardroom battle had been the end of Liam Grayson, CEO, but the start of something better, truer. Ethan ran Grayson Enterprises now, kept it steady, called sometimes to rib him about dough-covered hands instead of stock portfolios. "You're crazy," Ethan'd say, laughing through the line. "But you're happy, man. That's something." And he was. Happy. He'd traded a fortune for a life worth living, and every morning here, with her, proved it. The tabloids had faded. Claire, a ghost who'd vanished after her lies collapsed, her penthouse sold, her name forgotten. Sophie had forgiven him. Slow, steady, that first year, tough but real, her trust rebuilt in flower-dusted moments, quiet nights above the shop. By noon, the rush slowed, the bakery quiet, just them and a few regulars. Rosa poked her head in, older now, gray in her hair too, still at Bean and Brew down the block. "You two still at it?" she said, grinning, snagging a cookie from the tray. "Thought you'd burn this place down by now, rich boy?" "Nah," Liam said, leaning on the counter, his voice warm. "She keeps me in line. Always has." "Damn right," Sophie said, laughing, tossing a rag at him, her eyes bright. "Someone's gotta." Rosa chuckled, heading out. The bell jingling, and Liam turned to her, watching her knead dough, her hands strong, sure. "Worth it?" he said. Quiet, sudden, his voice low, the question slipping out. She stopped, looking up, her hands still, flour dusting her knuckles. "What?" she said, soft, tilting her head. "This," he said, nodding around, his chest tight. "Me, the bakery, all of it. Was it worth it?" She smiled, slow, real, stepping closer, her hand on his cheek, warm, steady. "Every damn second," she said, her voice breaking, tears glinting faint. "You?" "Yeah," he said, his throat burning, pulling her in, her forehead against his. "Every damn second." They stood there, quiet. The bakery theirs, the years piling up, good and hard and true. Kids came later, 2 girls, wild and loud, growing up in the shop, flour in their hair, laughter echoing off the walls. Grandkids now, toddling in on weekends, sticky hands grabbing cookies, calling him Pops, her Nana. The stoop was crowded again today, a warm fall afternoon, neighbors lingering, the girls chasing each other, the community tight, real. He stepped outside, coffee in hand, watching it all, the view from Brooklyn sharp, vivid, better than any penthouse skyline. Sophie joined him, her arm slipping through his, her head on his shoulder, the weight familiar. "Right. We did good," she said, quiet, her voice warm, steady. "Yeah," he said, his hand over hers, his voice rough, full. "We did." The day stretched on, the bakery humming, the life they'd built alive around them. He'd lost everything once, walked away from a fortune, but found more here, in her, in this. The tabloids were dust, the boardroom a memory, Claire, a shadow long gone. This was his world now, small, messy, real, and he wouldn't trade it, not for anything. Night fell, the shop closed, just them again, cleaning up, the silence soft, comfortable. "Still crazy," she said, wiping the counter, her voice teasing, warm. "Giving it all up for me. Best damn move I ever made," he said, stepping close, his hand on hers, his grin faint, true. "Always will be." She laughed, soft, real, and leaned in, her kiss warm, steady, the bakery theirs, the view from Brooklyn his forever, a life worth every fight, every fall, every second. As Liam Grayson's journey unfolds, we see a man who traded wealth for truth, losing an empire to find a life worth living. His story teaches us that real value lies not in what we own, but in who we become. The true worth of a man is not in his possessions, but in his heart, Plato once mused, and Liam proves it, shedding billions for Sophie's smile, for a bakery built on love. It's a reminder that masks we wear, be it power or pride, can blind us, but stripping them away reveals what matters. To thine own self be true, Shakespeare wrote, and Liam's redemption lies in that honesty, in choosing a messy, beautiful reality over a hollow throne. Life's storms test us, but they also forge us, showing that second chances bloom where courage takes root. Thank you, dear readers, for walking this path with us. Your thoughts light our way. Drop a comment, share your take, and hit that subscribe button to join our storytelling family. What's your lesson from Liam's tale? Let's chat below.